Okay, so this one's a doozy. It's kind of dizzying how much stuff has happened surrounding this particular story. I'm gonna do my best to be very comprehensive, but there's a lot of stuff that you're gonna have to look through my sources in the description section and do a deeper dive yourself, because if I try to cover every bit of information, this video is going to be like 20 hours long. Today's story concerns the Super Smash Bros. Community, who have recently been in uproar and have been revolting against Nintendo and Panda because of the way those two entities essentially got Smash World Tour canceled. So this is a Kotaku article whose headline reads, "Nintendo says it cares about Smash Bros. Fans as tournament dispute continues." This is an article that kind of gives you a basic summary, a basic timeline of everything that has transpired from Smash World Tour's cancellation all the way to the various statements that Nintendo and Panda have put out there. It's quite the mess. This all started back on November 29th, 2022, when Smash World Tour tweeted the following: "The upcoming Smash World Tour Championships and entirety of the 2023 Smash World Tour must be canceled." And then attached to the tweet is a link to a Medium post that shares the full story. It's a lot to read through, so I'm going to just kind of give you the highlights. Scrolling down this Medium post, it is once again reiterated that Smash World Tour Championships, as well as the 2023 Smash World Tour, must be canceled. Without any warning, we received notice the night before Thanksgiving from Nintendo that we could no longer operate. This was especially shocking given our discourse with Nintendo the past 12 months. Since then, we have been working around the clock to take the proper steps logistically, as well as to prepare this statement with proper legal guidance. We believe this decision by Nintendo sets all of that, and by that, Smash World Tour is referring to the impact that the tour has had globally and how much more exposure Smash Brothers has received worldwide as a result, and the prize pools and all of the various tournaments that they've been able to organize. All of that has been set back significantly, which is incredibly disappointing. We even had multiple independent documentary crews coming out. They're really pulling all stops for this tour, for these tournaments, for these events. Not to mention that a lot of money went into organizing Smash World Tour. We lost a significant amount of money in the first 18 months of Smash World Tour. We don't know where everything will land quite yet with contracts, sponsor obligations, etc. In short, we'll be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars due to Nintendo's actions. And then they describe what a 180 Nintendo did, initially coming off as a company that's willing to work with Smash World Tour to get this thing going, before they kind of flipped things around and suddenly sort of started ignoring them or ghosting them or not communicating as they were, and eventually just kind of deciding that Smash World Tour just isn't a priority. What makes this all even more disappointing is the approach Nintendo took in recent weeks compared to our discourse with them over the past 12 months. We truly believe things were progressing positively for quite some time. We don't know how much the higher-ups at Nintendo are even aware of the history and context of the last few years and recent months. We have requested multiple times to communicate with them directly, but these requests were not granted. Nintendo is infamous for mistreating the Smash Brothers community or not giving them the consideration that they should, especially after everything they've done to prop up Super Smash Bros. Into sort of esports level limelight that Nintendo sort of seems to be taking for granted. Like, the Smash Bros. Community has got to be some of the most patient in the world, given how much they had to put up with from Nintendo. We then dive into the timeline of events, starting with how in November of 2021, after the Panda Cup was first announced, Nintendo contacted us to jump on a call with a few folks on their team. Smash World Tour thought, uh-oh, here we go, we might be in trouble or something along those lines. But actually, Nintendo wanted to see if Smash World Tour were interested in working with Nintendo and pursue a license as well. They made it clear that Panda's partnership was not exclusive. And behind the scenes, talks just seemed like they were going in really positive places. It was incredibly refreshing to talk to multiple senior team members and clear the air on a lot of miscommunications and misgivings in the years prior. They were kind of pleasantly surprised to find that for the first time we felt like Nintendo was being consistently straightforward, transparent, and direct in answering our questions. Man, almost too good to be true, huh? But then conflicts began to arise, specifically where CEO and co-founder of Panda, Alan, is concerned. We quickly found that many organizers were concerned about joining up in 2022 for Smash World Tour because they were told by Alan that we were going to get shut down and were not coming back in 2022, which directly contradicted our conversations with Nintendo. So we decided to approach Nintendo. Nintendo was very sympathetic to our situation, explaining that as long as these conditions are met, you guys are going to be fine. We're going to support you. So things again seem to be going in very positive places and directions. It is emphasized by Smash World Tour here that Panda has been attempting to undermine Smash World Tour, and this was sort of continuous. The CEO continued to tell organizers we were definitely not coming back in 2022, and just sort of engaged in sabotage and created this rift among the community and concerns as to what's really going on behind the scenes that made people who would have liked to participate in Smash World Tour just kind of apprehensive about engaging with that because of what Alan was saying about this whole event. Organizers were told that their individual events would also be at risk if they were on the Smash World Tour, but Smash World Tour decided to focus on getting their application through and getting their ducks in order. Nintendo's response to our application came slowly. One thing that did cause delays was that they did not have the full scope of our proposal sorted with Nintendo in advance, so this caused our application to go into limbo. Eventually, Nintendo recommended at this stage to apply for a single event license for our December championships. While all that was happening, Panda apparently continued to make things difficult, continued to engage in sabotage. Around the same time, Panda Cup began heavily recruiting events for their circuit. The CEO continued to tell organizers we would be getting shut down shortly, and also added that any events that participated in the Panda Cup would not be allowed to be on the Smash World Tour. Panda targeted events that were not on the Smash World Tour. A few of these events had broadcast deals with a popular tournament broadcaster beyond the summit, BTS. One of the common themes that you'll see throughout the story is that Alan, the CEO of Panda, he sort of wanted to have kind of a monopoly on the whole competitive Smash Brothers scene, and that sort of insinuated here. The CEO of Panda wanted broadcasting rights to be included as part of the deal of the events joining the Panda Cup. But things didn't end up going the way Panda CEO Alan wanted. Most events with Beyond the Summit broadcasting contracts chose to side with Beyond the Summit. Eventually, Smash World Tour organizers began to get concerned about the way Alan has been behaving, the sabotage that he was engaging in, and so they figured this might be worth bringing up to Nintendo. We still kept an open line of communication with Nintendo as we prepared our submission for our championships event. We also expressed our serious concern about how Panda was talking to community organizers and their lack of ethics. We were reassured that the CEO of Panda does not speak for Nintendo and that they are frustrated with all of the fracturing happening behind the scenes due to his behavior. At the time, Nintendo seemed to be siding with Smash World Tour, agreeing that Alan's behavior was very disruptive and not conducive to being able to make healthy organizations of these events. But then came the 180 flip the second that the Panda Cup was finally announced on May 26, 2022. Smash World Tour's communications with Nintendo slowed down dramatically. Nintendo was very slow to respond to our many bumps. After no response for months, we felt that we had no choice but to announce the championships in August, and only after that happened did Nintendo finally respond. We finally reconvened with Nintendo at the end of September, nearly 4 months after our submission. At this point, it started to become clear where Nintendo's priorities were shifting and who they were beginning to side with more. Nintendo did try to reassure that nothing had been decided yet and apologize for how long the process had taken, but we were not able to reconvene with Nintendo again until November, nearly 7 months after our application submission and 1 month out from the championships. But then came the nail in the coffin for Smash World Tour. Finally, last Wednesday evening, November 23rd, 2022, last Wednesday as of the publishing of this Medium post, we had our most recent call with Nintendo, and basically it was relayed that Nintendo expects us to only operate with a commercial license and that we would not be granted one for the upcoming championships or any activity in 2023. We received this in writing as well. And then a second nail in the coffin came when Smash World Tour tried to propose maybe continuing to run the championships and the tour next year without a license, but Nintendo told them directly that those times are now over. That's sort of the very basic summary of this Medium post. If you want the nitty-gritty details, be sure to read the whole thing yourself. I don't have to tell you that this Medium post set the whole Smash Brothers community ablaze. Plenty of people came out expressing their sympathies and frustrations at Nintendo and Panda. Smash World Tour garnered a huge amount of support because members of the Smash Brothers community and the competitive scene are aware of its contributions and the positive impact it's had. And in equal measure, there was a huge amount of backlash against Nintendo, which forced the Nintendo spokesperson to give out the following statement to Kotaku. Unfortunately, after continuous conversations with Smash World Tour and after giving the same deep consideration we apply to any potential partner, we were unable to come to an agreement with Smash Smash World Tour for a full circuit in 2023. Nintendo did not request any changes to or cancellation of remaining events in 2022, including the 2022 championship event, considering the negative impact on the players who were already planning to participate. It wasn't long before Smash World Tour responded with a follow-up statement regarding Nintendo's response. Embedded on the tweet is a Google Docs link that will take you to the following statement, official statement by Smash World Tour, published on November 29th, 2022. Nintendo tried to claim that we didn't force Smash World Tour's hands, we didn't tell them to shut down their events, but to dispute that, Smash World Tour published the exact quote that Nintendo gave them in writing. After further review, we have found that the Smash World Tour has not met these expectations around health and safety guidelines and has not adhered to our internal partner guidelines. Nintendo will not be able to grant a license for the Smash World Tour Championship 2022 or any Smash World Tour activity in 2023. And they made it a point to highlight that when they tried to ask Nintendo if they could run the championships and the tour next year without a license, they were told directly that those times are now over. And then a twist of the knife is the fact that we did not even submit an application for 2023 yet. The license application was for the 2022 championships submitted in April. Smash World Tour states here that Nintendo including all 2023 activity was an addition we were not even expecting. Nintendo shut them down for 2023 before they even applied for 2023 activities. It just feels like Nintendo had it out for them. From there, we got a statement from Video Game Bootcamp, the organization that manages and created Smash World Tour. Here is a Google Docs link, uncertainty regarding Video Game Bootcamp's future. This is a statement that they gave out, talking about how it is with much regret that we announce that we must cancel both upcoming major VGBC Smash events, Glitch, Duel of Fates, and Double Down 2023. And this is something that they did as a safety precaution because based on our recent communications with Nintendo, we'd be putting ourselves at further risk if we continued forward with our current plans. We're hopeful that this does not mean we will not be running major events in 2023, just that our future is currently uncertain. 3 days later, on December 2nd, 2022, Nintendo issued a second statement to Kotaku saying that Nintendo's decision to not grant a license to Smash World Tour, not just for 2022, but also for 2023, was solely based on our assessment of the proposal submitted by the Smash World Tour and our evaluation of their unlicensed activities. This decision was not influenced by any external parties such as Panda Global. When we notified the Smash World Tour that we would not license their 2022 or 2023 activities, we also let them know verbally that we were not requiring they cancel the 2022 finals event because of the impact it would have on players. Thus, the decision to cancel the Smash World Tour 2022 was and still is their own choice. Panda Global will continue to be a key partner for Nintendo. Panda continues to advocate on behalf of the Super Smash Bros. Community. Nintendo cares about the Super Smash Bros. Fans and its community very much, and we hope to continue to hear their passionate feedback. Nintendo also emphasizes here that it's important that a partner adheres to brand and IP guidelines and conducts itself according to professional and organizational best practices. But according to Smash World Tour's Medium post, it was Nintendo who reached out to Smash World Tour because Nintendo believed that Smash World Tour did a really good job adhering to guidelines and conducting themselves professionally. According to Smash World Tour, discussions were going well behind the scenes before Nintendo suddenly decided that Panda was the priority and sort of ghosted Smash World Tour for much of the months leading up to when the event was supposed to happen. And Nintendo says right here, well, we didn't tell them to shut down their events, but I imagine that given Nintendo's volatile history of shutting down events and engaging in legal action against events that aren't officially licensed and whatnot, a lot of these events and organizers don't want to take the risk of Nintendo's lawyers raining hell down on them or them deciding to take official measures to shut down an event that requires months of planning and tons of manpower and resources and a lot of money to be poured into it. Not long after Nintendo's official statement, Smash World Tour responded with another Google Docs response where they said that we're struggling to understand why Nintendo contacted us at all last week if they truly wanted us to continue operating. We're struggling to understand why they would not simply reach out to us after our event rather than rush to meet with us before the Thanksgiving holiday break just 2 weeks before our championships event. For Smash World Tour, the way Nintendo approached them felt like a veiled threat, especially given that when Smash World Tour asked Nintendo if we could continue our events without a license, the exact words that they were given was that those times are over. Words like that coming from Nintendo, a company with a history of engaging with hostility against their own communities, doesn't signal, a green light for them to keep hosting their events. It's not the words you want to hear to feel confident that maybe I can continue these events without the risk of Nintendo getting involved and shutting us down or just completely messing everything up. Smash World Tour also expressed disappointment in Nintendo's endorsement of Panda Global. This is especially concerning given that Nintendo has been aware of Panda's behavior for quite some time, so much so that they directly told us on multiple occasions that it would be addressed. Yet even after countless corroborating testimonies from other community leaders and organizers that Panda has engaged in rather nefarious ways, Nintendo continues to back Panda as a key partner and claims that Panda continues to advocate on behalf of the Super Smash Bros. Community. And we will soon see many testimonies from many prominent members in the Smash Bros. Community who came out in support for Smash World Tour and who corroborated many of the claims that make Panda look like a rather shady organization, or at least its CEO look like a rather shady and nefarious individual. For those who don't know, Panda is an esports organization that Nintendo partnered with back in November 18th, 2021 when they announced that ready your A-game Super Smash Bros. Competitors, we have partnered with Panda Global to launch the first officially licensed Super Smash Bros. Championship circuit in North America, coming in 2022. Panda, its CEO specifically, many believe to be the primary instigator of this recent fiasco in the Super Smash Bros. Community. Panda did put out this statement on December 2nd, 2022. Here's what Panda had to say in regards to the allegations against the organization and specifically the CEO. We were all as surprised as the public to see the announcement of the Smash World Tour Championships cancellation, as well as the accompanying statement which attacked the hard work and ethics of those behind the Panda Cup. The team was not informed of any intention to cancel the Smash World Tour Championship 2022, nor has the team ever engaged in conversations that sought those ends. As Nintendo of America indicates in their own statement, the organizers of the Smash World Tour were not required to cancel their 2022 championship event, and any implication that the Panda Cup team had any influence in that regard is false. And then the statement delves into the allegations themselves. In the Smash World Tour statement, there are a number of accusations leveled against Dr. Allen, the CEO of Panda. In reality, Dr. Allen, as Nintendo of America has corroborated, has been one of the more vocal supporters of the broader community and the Smash World Tour organizers in internal conversations. However, the Panda Cup team does not acknowledge and regret an interaction between Dr. Allen and Beyond the Summit, in which he spoke in a manner which did not reflect either guidance from Nintendo or our own standards. Panda took efforts to rectify the situation immediately, and in the second half of the year, a dedicated team made up of multiple staff members was assembled to manage Panda Cup activities and serve as the primary point of contact for event runners, removing the possibility of future miscommunications from occurring. I believe what Panda's statement is referring to is this bit from the Smash World Tour Medium post, the one that elaborates on Panda targeting events that were not on the Smash World Tour, including Beyond the Summit. BTS, Beyond the Summit, had very little motivation to give up the broadcast rights for free, so he declined to get involved, causing the CEO of Panda, Allen, to escalate things quickly. We were told he made a variety of threats to Beyond the Summit, including shutting down their entire Smash operation in 2023 if they did not eventually join Panda. After BTS held firm, the CEO of Panda warned that they would get Nintendo directly involved, putting broadcast rights for all tournaments in jeopardy. Panda's statement here low-key confirms that that was a thing that happened and that they have taken measures to rectify that, but they don't really go into specific details, nor do they really confess exactly what happened. They keep details vague, intentionally so, from what I can gather. All right, so with all the official statements and back and forth between various organizations out of the way, let's take a look at the community's response. So here's Sparkle pointing out people openly boycotting Nintendo/Panda so far. A bunch of people have come out in support of Smash World Tour, and in a separate tweet below, a couple more names were added to the list. A bunch of folks have come out to say, screw Panda and screw Nintendo. We're not participating if this is how they're going to treat the Smash Brothers community. Now you can see right here that Panda's statement has been ratioed, suggesting that it has not been received positively. Among those calling it out is Twitter user Grayola, who is a tournament organizer. He tweeted, I was going back and forth on responding to this due to having signed an NDA with them, so I looked at it carefully before posting this. This is all based on my personal experience and talking with other TOs, tournament organizers. Panda has engaged in a pattern of behavior attempting to strong-arm/manipulate major tournament organizers into joining their circuit. This includes threatening events, telling TOs other circuits were going to fail, and attempting to poach events. Their tactics were not a one-off and were certainly malicious. It was to the point that for the last year, This has been the primary topic of discussion amongst major tournament organizers. Their statement, according to what I know and what I've heard, is completely inaccurate. I'd say ask any major tournament organizer, but NDAs to meet regarding Panda Cup were commonplace. From there, we got many prominent players, streamers, you name it, people involved in the competitive scene speaking out, like Wolfie here. Heart goes out to the Smash community. I've been watching since 2014, and it's devastating to see the news today. I was with Panda for years and only had the highest opinion of the people in charge. Very surprised to see this. I hope Nintendo writes this wrong. Over 15,000 upvotes. Like, this is a big story. It made waves across the entire Super Smash Bros. Community and other Nintendo communities and the fighting games community as a whole. Connor here tweeted, Nintendo's like your grandma who makes great cookies, but is also racist. Some have expressed intentions to completely boycott Nintendo or Panda hosted events. Aiden here tweeted, I'll never attend a publicly licensed Nintendo or Panda Circuit event ever again. I'll continue to support grassroots locals and majors and affiliated with Nintendo that have been the lifeblood of our scene for 20 plus years. Aiden had more to say in follow-up tweets. If Nintendo/Panda support were legit, they would leverage resources to provide organizers in the community with the best circuit possible. Instead, implied threats of cease and desist were consistently leveraged in order to stomp the competition. Nothing concrete to offer. It's laughable. This very much feels like a hostile takeover type of situation where the Smash Brothers community came together to build up the Smash Brothers competitive scene, and Nintendo just kind of wants to swoop in and take over completely and wants it to be their way or the highway, and they're partnering with Panda, who seem to have every intention to have a monopoly on the Smash Brothers competitive scene. The irony is that if Panda and Nintendo were willing to play the long game and actually power up the scene with substantial money and resources, they probably would have won out naturally. Instead, they've imploded all of their goodwill. It's actually insane. Here's another prominent individual in the Smash Brothers scene, Jazz, who tweeted, our best resources as a community, in my opinion, is to boycott any Panda Cup event, and additionally any event associated with Nintendo. This includes tournament organizers, players, commentators, everybody. After the Big House cancellation, my impression is that Panda has effectively served as an in-community Trojan horse, allowing Nintendo to start exercising its control over our events again. Next up, we got a series of tweets from another prominent figure in the esports scene, Jake Lucky, who summarized what was shared in the Medium post, but also pointed out that this comes despite the fact that the Smash World Tour both broke viewership records for the esport entirely last year, alongside offering the largest prize pools these Smash Pros have ever had a chance to compete for. Here's a Smash Brothers Ultimate player who pointed out that a lot of players are already in the US for the Cup, and so this makes Nintendo's actions especially petty, how last minute this all happened, and so a lot of people who prepare themselves for this event are now finding themselves empty-handed. Other esports players like Dabu Senpai kept it simple. Nintendo actively trying to kill our scene yet again. Nintendo has a track record of this, just an incredibly antiquated mindset of how to manage the esports scene. They just want to exert control to the point where it is essentially putting the scene in shambles. Prominent Smash Brothers player Leffen just put out a simple tweet saying, not sure if Nintendo realizes how much this hurts the Smash Brothers scene. Absolutely terrible. It really does not make sense to cancel this all last minute and then expect us to be okay and just support Nintendo's involvement in Smash going forward. Hopefully this is all a misunderstanding that can be fixed. I truly hope they backtrack on this decision. Leffen also called out Nintendo's statement where they essentially said, well, we didn't force Smash World Tour 2022 to shut down. That was their decision. We had nothing to do with that, except for the essentially veiled threat when they said that those times are over, the time for unlicensed Smash Brothers tournaments. Leffen responded by tweeting, really confusing statement by Nintendo spokesperson. Their written statement seems to heavily imply cancellation. If they actually did not mean to cancel 2022 finals, then they must clarify that. And then in regards to Panda's statement, Leffen simply tweeted WTF and then elaborated, incredible how they deflect all blame and take Nintendo's side, even on things we know they lied about, such as them telling them to cancel 2022 finals. All this time for this statement. Holy shit. Apparently behind the scenes it is known that Panda CEO did try to get World Tour 2022 canceled, even though the statement claims that we had nothing to do with that. We would never do something like that, and we certainly didn't do anything like that. And then in regards to Nintendo's second official statement, Leffen tweeted, this smells like complete BS PR statement from Nintendo, to be honest. Canceling our tour for health and safety, LOL. At least they are now trying to say that SWT or Smash World Tour Finals in 2022 can be run, but is it too late to run it now? I mean, the event has been canceled, and because Nintendo has been so hostile in the past about unlicensed events and with statements and words like those times are now over, I don't imagine that the organizers feel confident about hosting the event. Leffen tweeted here that this also gives zero confidence that any tournament not ran with Panda isn't going to be ceased and desisted in the future. That's the concern. That's why for many tournament organizers and tournament organizations, the future feels uncertain. Nintendo's provided no assurances that unlicensed tournaments can be run without them being struck down by Nintendo. Next up, we got an esports organization who spoke out. Beast Coast tweeted, "We are incredibly disappointed to hear about the cancellation of the Smash World Tour. This scene was built from the ground up by passionate tournament organizers who have brought us diversity in the events we have experienced and cherished together. Losing Smash World Tour and hurting Video Game Bootcamp is a wound the whole community feels. We urge Nintendo to rethink their decision, and we stand in solidarity with the community." Here we have Peanut, who tweeted that if all of this is true, I'm never supporting Panda again. Next up, we got Stans here. This article was so sad to read. A year of successful events and an attempt to work with Nintendo using Nintendo guidelines, and it shut down last minute. BS. Next up is a tweet from Twitter user Stewed, who for some reason decided to make his Twitter page private. So this is a tweet that currently can only be read by using Wayback Machine. It reads, "With this, I think my career as a Melee caster is likely over. From what I've been told, I, alongside other P+ anti-Nintendo casters, was blacklisted from Panda events. If their licensing rules hold that ban list, many commentators will not be working much anymore." Next up, we got CLG Void, a Smash Ultimate Pro streamer, who just tweeted, "Of course, it's Nintendo who is messing everything up. I can't imagine what's next for Smash tournaments, and that makes me pretty sad." Professional Melee player Tempo Axe simply tweeted that I'm speechless at what's going on here. Another Melee player, Kodarin, said, "How many more times are we going to get cucked in Melee's lifetime? One thing's for certain, we will find a way to rise above our fucked circumstances. Pandemic couldn't stop us. We'll see if Nintendo and the pandemic can Melee forever." Here we have another esports organization who spoke out. "In light of recent events from Nintendo about Smash World Tour, we at Paragon are extremely disappointed in Nintendo's decision to shut down Smash World Tour and urge them to rethink their decision, and they express solidarity for all of the players as well as tournament organizers, staff, and management who will be negatively impacted by Nintendo's decision." Here's Twitter user Rooflemonger, who just simply tweeted, "No company hates its own fan base in the way Nintendo does." It certainly does feel that way. Like, the way Nintendo treats their communities and like the Smash Brothers scene rivals the way Take-Two treats Grand Theft Auto modders. Here's another professional Smash Brothers player, None, simply tweeting, "I will not be attending Panda Cup. Always support grassroots efforts. Remember where you come from." Essentially saying, "I'm boycotting Nintendo and Panda events." Panda's statement didn't help matters. He simply tweeted, "I've decided that Alan will now be the opposite word for Chad." Now, one of the more viral tweets comes from Ludwig, who said, "In light of Panda/Nintendo's lackluster response, I'm happy to announce the Scuffed World Tour, a one-day Melee Ultimate event, Sunday, December 18th, featuring the 8 highest placing Smash World Tour competitors, all with the goal to raise money for Video Game Bootcamp. See you there." Essentially sort of like an event to raise money to support those who are affected by Nintendo's hostility towards these events that have been just so valuable to the Smash Brothers community. He lists out who's invited and says that he's happy to provide a $50,000 total prize pool for the event. Hopefully that makes it worth the players' time. So you can see just the incredible amount of rallying and solidarity coming out of the Smash Brothers community in support of those grassroots events, while Nintendo and Panda try to engage in essentially hostile takeovers. And beyond the Smash Brothers community, you got folks from the Splatoon community tweeting stuff like, "Nintendo just abruptly shut down Smash World Tour, a massive competitive Smash circuit. Their active hostile interference with competitive play doesn't just affect the Smash scene. The precedent set for the Smash community has long affected us, Splatoon players too. Let's protest this." Now, some are trying to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt, saying that Panda was the main factor in how this whole situation played out. Evan Hashimoto tweeted, "If you read it, it becomes very clear that the Nintendo reps were supportive until the Panda CEO forced their hand. Seriously disgusting behavior." Tool-assisted Melee content creator Andrew Nestico pointed out how even if Nintendo didn't explicitly cease and desist them, you can basically read between the lines. Again, veiled threat. The way they phrase things implied that it's probably safer to not run the Smash World Tour 2022 event because there are just too many risks involved given Nintendo's history of hostility, so they had to treat this as a shutdown even if it wasn't a direct cease and desist. So yeah, you get the idea. In the hours and days following that Medium post by Smash World Tour, the Smash Brothers community has been speaking out left and right. And then on December 6, 2022, former Panda CEO Dr. Allen came out with the following statement that's 31 pages long and a 32-minute read. I'm not going to read you the whole statement, obviously, but we can go to the post itself and get the TLDR version, the too long didn't read version, where Dr. Allen confirmed that I'm no longer CEO of Panda. Thanks to lies, falsehoods, and bandwagon character attacks, my life and the lives of my family are at risk. My team was harassed to the point of resigning, many in tears, and they may never have a chance to pursue a full-time career in Smash again. Number 2, a Smash World Tour leadership organized and coordinated a lie about the circumstances surrounding their status of license agreement, making up a villain to blame it all on and come out as the heroes on top. Past and present BTS leadership chose to corroborate it publicly for unknown reasons, but definitely benefit from it as well. His stance is basically, I'm being canceled, and this is an organized effort for people to cancel me and everything I've built. Number 3, a former BTS leader took every opportunity to stonewall and obfuscate any efforts to come to an agreement, going so far as to dare legal action that would harm the community, on top of even threatening to revoke sponsorships from events that considered working with the Panda Cup. In spite of this, I still tried to make every effort to work with BTS. And finally, number 4, the goal of the Panda Cup was always about growing the entire Smash community and was never about my personal aspirations. Our model always shared revenue with everyone, even outside of Panda, including events, casters, players, production, staffing, and more. Now, if you look through the entirety of this Medium post, you'll see that Allen does provide various screenshots that he tries to present as evidence to support his claims that SWT, Smash World Tour, and BTS, that they've engaged in coordinated lies and attacks against him, and that he's in the right in all of this, and that he is not a nefarious actor. He's not the person that the Smash community is painting him to be, so on and so forth. But after members of the community read this whole statement, the general sentiment out there is that this feels like there's just a lot of omitting of information. It feels like lies, and it feels like a representation of events that's not accurate to many people's testimonials and their own experiences. Twitter user Nick Yingling responded to Dr. Allen's tweet linking to the Medium post by publishing this Twitter thread where he essentially compiles people responding to this long statement. Another Twitter user, Bonk, published this tweet that links to notable responses to Dr. Allen's statement. Among the first to respond was Smash World Tour, who linked the following Google Docs post via this tweet. And looking at the official statement published on December 7th, 2022, you can see right here that they essentially make the point that many respected event organizers have corroborated our original statement and our side of the story. And then scrolling further down, you'll find an extensive statement that presents evidence and screenshots that attempt to counteract what Dr. Allen has presented, the story that he is painting. Smash Brothers player Leffen spoke out against Dr. Allen's statement by tweeting, I legit have no idea how Allen thought he could get away with both monopolizing the Smash Brothers scene or now trying to lie about it by claiming SWT Smash World Tour was never happening, or that Hotbid, of all people, is the villain. Hotbid, aka Ken Chen, for those who don't know, is the executive director, content and creative at Team Liquid, and he's honestly among the most respected members of the Smash Brothers and competitive scene community. Leffen concludes with, sad that such a dumb person could cause so much damage. I think he is definitely manipulative too, but it's staggering how badly and stupidly he does so. Just needed a bit of patience and he would have won out eventually, and instead literally just ruined everything. Makes sense, he is heart-struck silver in league with this level of inting. And then in his final tweet, he does put some of the blame on Nintendo. This is still absolutely also a case of Nintendo fucking us over once more. From there, we have Twitter user Chrome, who kind of broke down Dr. Allen's statement and spotlighted many of the holes in his version of the story. This is one that's worth reading. That I'll link in the description below as well. Here we have Twitter user Tyler, who's apparently a PR pro, who made it a point to highlight that Dr. Allen's statement is a really bad statement statement, Allen leads by saying, "This is the most transparent public statement in my life." This statement reads like an emotional rant, intermittently broken up by Allen jerking himself off. And then he proceeds to break down Dr. Allen's statement in his own way, also thread worth checking out. Next up, we got Twitter user Bobak, who's had interactions with Dr. Allen and had this to say about his most recent statement. "I got some shit to say, not going into detail, but from the very first moment Allen opened his mouth to the very last time we spoke, nothing but snake-like sounds could be heard, like that shit in Harry Potter. I've had the misfortune of dealing with a lot of manipulative people in my life, so when I hear him talk, I was immediately put on guard. The gaslighting, the doubt he would cast on things I would say, the way he would play victim, saying he's not doing this for himself, etc., etc." Bobak also does corroborate Smash World Tour's allegations that Dr. Allen spread misinformation about how Smash World Tour is getting shut down and how participating in Smash World Tour means that it's going to damage your reputation and your ability to participate in the Panda Cup and stuff like that. One thing for sure that was constantly reiterated in our calls was that Smash World Tour would be canceled, that Smash World Tour was blacklisted, that GIMR was blacklisted, and it was only a matter of time before they were shut down because, "Trust me, I know," quote unquote. Trust me was a term he used a lot. Apparently, Bobak is aware of an instance in which Dr. Allen called himself at one point the savior of Smash, and just kind of breaks down why Dr. Allen comes off as so untrustworthy and so manipulative, insisting that most of what he said in that 31-page Medium post is a lie, and came in support of Ken Chen, who Dr. Allen tried to paint a negative picture of. Bobak came in support by saying that Ken is by far one of the most personally influential people I've ever met in my life. The guidance he's given us, the support, the professionalism that he's shown us has been something I'll forever be thankful for. And generally, that's the sentiment out there, that Ken Chen comes across as someone who's just a good person, who is genuinely passionate about Smash Brothers and supporting the community, whereas with Dr. Allen, a ton of people have suggested that they got a bad feeling about him, that he's always come across as manipulative and just kind of shady and sort of engaging in bad will and not being entirely honest about things, so on and so forth. Bobak received corroboration from players like Fly Here, who corroborated what Bobak tweeted here. Make no mistake, he had no plans on uniting the scene on a larger scale. He had no plans on propping Melee up or how to onboard new players. His plan that he told us was to push Ultimate way more to the masses and gain the casual audience, go mainstream essentially. And in this video, Fly talks about an interaction that he had with Dr. Allen, where Dr. Allen said, "Abandon ship when it comes to Smash Brothers Melee, Ultimate is where it's at," and just essentially trying to bring down Melee to prop up Ultimate instead of, uniting all of the Smash Brothers scenes. Here we have a founder and CEO of an esports organization, Gallant, speaking out and corroborating Bobak by saying that he, at one point, had an interaction with Dr. Allen where he expressed his intentions to own Battle of BC and the events on the Cup, further highlighting his monopolistic tendencies where he wanted to own the entire Smash Brothers competitive scene with the help of Nintendo. Here's yet another prominent figure, Wisely, who further corroborated this. "I've heard nearly every major tournament organizer say that Allen talked about wanting to buy out the rights to their tournament brands. His goal was to own the entire ecosystem." Here's somebody else saying that I've heard several accounts of Allen saying something to the effect of, "I want to buy/own your event." When so many members of the Smash Brothers community are saying the same thing about Dr. Allen, it becomes more likely than not that, yeah, Dr. Allen had monopolistic tendencies and that he was not someone to be trusted, nor was he someone who had the best interest in mind for the Smash Brothers community. Ken Chen, who Dr. Allen called out, eventually provided his own statement. "Hard to take this 32-pager seriously, but since I was called out, I'll respond in a thread." And scrolling down here, Ken Chen accuses Dr. Allen of threatening BTS or Beyond the Summit multiple times. "I reported the threats as the call was happening and directly after to @LDeep. My boss at the time, LD, was not on the call but was there as I typed a transcript of it on Slack. To be clear, I did not yell or explode at Allen at all. He was extremely hostile and exhausting to talk to." And then scrolling further down, BTS, Beyond the Summit, refused to collaborate with Allen largely because of his conduct, not because because of me. And this is yet another thread that's just worth checking out, where Ken Chen makes it abundantly clear that his 32-page Medium post is filled with lies and a complete misrepresentation of people and series of events. LD himself came out in support of Ken Chen, saying that he's never heard Ken Chen yell at anyone except for like a game of Mafia. It's impossible for me to take anything Allen says seriously when faced with such an extreme claim that, as far as I can tell, literally nobody can corroborate. Nobody said, yep, Ken Chen is like how Dr. Allen's described, whereas so many are coming out and saying, yep, Dr. Allen is, as everyone else is describing, manipulative, hostile, hard to work with, you name it. LD concludes by saying that his theory is that Allen sold a Smash circuit to Nintendo without actually getting buy-in from the vast majority of tentpole Smash events. After selling our events without our input, he then scrambled to get us all on board. LD then speculates that Dr. Allen sold a Smash circuit to Nintendo without actually getting buy-in from the vast majority of tentpole Smash events. This is obvious from the fact that most major events were not on the Panda Cup in 2022. After selling our events without our input, he then scrambled to get us all on board. Here's another prominent figure, Mikey, who corroborated what LD said by saying that the way Allen describes Ken's behavior is frankly insane. Nobody's heard of Ken behaving the way that Dr. Allen described. And from there, we have additional posts by Mikey where he adds further context to how he saw everything play out and, what he believes happened, further painting Dr. Allen and Panda to be the villains in this story. Here's one more corroboration of how the way Dr. Allen described Ken Chen's behavior is just completely uncharacteristic of people's experiences with interacting with Ken Chen. And generally, the current consensus is that Dr. Allen was a big reason for why Smash World Tour was shut down, that it's disappointing Nintendo is choosing to ally themselves with Panda and Dr. Allen, and with the level of backlash and revolt that Nintendo is seeing from the Super Smash Bros. Community, the hope is that Nintendo will change their minds and that they will correct what looks to be a wrong on the part of both Nintendo and Panda, specifically Dr. Allen. We'll see how these events play out further, but for now, this is kind of everything you need to know. It's a lot. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I'll keep you updated on further developments. In the meantime, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this whole debacle and which side you think is more trustworthy. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.